Interesting conversation that we have at hand here, because what I wanted to do in this video was go over to the hockeywriters.com, because an article published 2 days ago by Matt Parks goes out there and describes 5 reasons the Oilers will regret re-signing Corey Perry. Now, this is a pretty kind of topic. I don't know if it's like the hottest one, but it is one that I think is worth talking about when you consider the Edmonton Oilers, what it is they've been building the past few months here, and the direction that the team seems to be going down. Of course, the link to this article will be in the description if you want to go ahead and read the entire thing yourself, unfiltered, unedited, it's all there. But I think before we dive into a conversation like this, we kind of have to acknowledge where the Edmonton Oilers are in their timeline, what the entire progression of the team seems to be, and what that window of opportunity looks like right now. The Oilers are in pure win-now mode, and they kind of have no choice but to be in that state. They just re-signed Leon Draisaitl. He will be the highest-paid NHL player at $14 million a year. Connor McDavid is going to come up soon. He's going to get that title right back in a year or two. Evan Bouchard is going to get a lot of money as well. And when you factor in the statistic that says that the Edmonton Oilers are literally the oldest team in the NHL, you kind of have to start realizing, okay, this team's cup window is right now. It is make it or break it. There is literally no other NHL roster that has an average age that is older than the Edmonton Oilers. They are the oldest team. They've got 2 of the best players in the world. They've got 1 of the best defensemen in the world. And they've got some of the highest paid contracts in the hockey world. So this team, when you consider the fact that they were in the Stanley Cup Finals just as recently as this previous season, and that they have all these expectations of potentially coming back and maybe getting revenge and bringing the cup back to Canada, are they Canada's best hope at Lord Stanley's Grail? Who really knows? You have to start wondering, how do we evaluate the moves the Oilers have made this summer? The moves like the signings of certain guys, the non-moves, like the non-matchings of the offer sheets that were given out to Broberg and Holloway. Where have the Oilers gone since then, and what's the fuel for this article to go out there and say that Corey Perry was something that Edmonton will regret? The article opens up by saying this offseason the Oilers made a questionable decision, re-signing Corey Perry to a 1-year deal with a $1.15 million cap hit. Perry first inked a 1-year $775,000 deal with the Oilers on January 22nd after his contract was terminated by the Chicago Blackhawks in late November. Bringing in a veteran on a league minimum contract was a good idea by the Oilers. Perry has been solid since joining the Oilers, registering 13 points in 38 regular season games and averaging 12-15 minutes a night in the bottom 6. It was a low-risk move due to his experience and minimal salary. However, that was last year. Now he seems to be running out of gas and will likely see the press box many times this season. He is not worth the extension he was given, and the Oilers may regret the decision to bring him back. Here are 5 reasons why re-signing Perry was a mistake. And that is indeed the contract that he has gotten. If you go over to Elite Prospects, it is kind of glitched out if you take a look at it. It says Corey Perry, 24-25, 24-25, 24-25. It's kind of duplicated over here. In fact, if you scroll down, I mean, it's got, how many rows is that? 8 rows of 2023, 2024 contracts? Yeah, no, Elite Prospects, you're kind of glitched out right now. What's going on here? Corey Perry is not a guy who is going to score 50 goals like he did 13 years ago. He's not going to get 98 points. He's not going to get anywhere near a top point production metric. He's going to be a regular old bottom 6 caliber guy. Whether or not he is the 40-point caliber guy, like he was in Tampa Bay a few years ago, or if he maxes out as like a 10 or 15-point player, that all remains to be seen. But when you consider Corey Perry's role with Edmonton, he was not really supposed to be anything more than a bottom 6 stabilizing presence with some veteran leadership and a guy who could get under his opponent's skin. That's the same quality as to why he was pretty much brought on to be Connor Bedard's protector and mentor heading into the start of last season. However, as you've already seen, the writer of this article, Matt Parks, is very against the signing, and the first reason why is the Corey Perry curse. What do the 2020 Dallas Stars, 2021 Montreal Canadiens, 2022 Tampa Bay Lightning, and 2024 Oilers all have in common? They all lost in the Stanley Cup Final with Corey Perry on their roster. In 2020, Corey Perry was on Dallas and he lost to Tampa Bay. In 2021, Corey Perry was on Montreal and he lost to Tampa Bay. In 2022, Corey Perry was on Tampa Bay and he lost to Colorado. And in 2024, Corey Perry was on Edmonton and he lost to Florida. I'm not going to go out there and say that I am not a superstitious person. I'm like halfway there. There are a lot of people that are probably more superstitious than I am, a lot of people who don't believe in that stuff as much as I do. But even I can look at this situation and be like, yeah, what the hell is going on with this dude and his mojo? 4 out of the 5 recent Stanley Cup Finals have featured Corey Perry, and all 4 of the Corey Perry teams have lost. Now, the article makes it very clear Corey Perry probably doesn't care that he keeps on losing because he already has a Stanley Cup in 2007 with the Anaheim Ducks. But this curse, this legend, this whatever you want to call it, it is kind of there. And you can't really ignore it at this point. Second overall on the article here talks about how Corey Perry's age is indeed a problem. He's 39 years old, and he's not really in his prime anymore. Now, the article does go in, do an entire thing saying, oh, he's not effective, and he's not really as big of a pest, and he doesn't score as much, and the Oilers are the oldest team in the NHL. Honestly, I don't think that him being old is that bad of a reason to not bring him back. I mean, he's 39, yes, but the contract he signed was only 1 year long, so even if it is like, oh, he's too old to compete, the contract's not going to go on forever, and I think there is breathing room if the Oilers wanted to bring back a guy that they saw value in, which is exactly what they did. Now here is where we start getting into maybe the real reasons, the actual reasons as to why this contract wasn't needed. Number 3, written out in this article, Corey Perry's money should have been allocated elsewhere. Knowing what we know now, extending Corey Perry was a head-scratcher. The offer sheets by St. Louis to Philip Broberg and Holloway are brought up here, which the Oilers did not match, meaning that both players are now in St. Louis. The Oilers could have handled this better. Even though Perry's $1.15 million cap hit doesn't seem like a lot, management should have used that money to re-sign their pending RFAs, specifically Holloway. The fact that signing Perry was prioritized over Holloway is mind-boggling. Holloway may have also been a bit more expensive, but he's also 17 years younger and would have had a larger role in the team this season. The Oilers also traded Cody Ceci and his $3.25 million cap hit to save money. Management dropped the ball on their RFAs, who should have been signed mid-season anyway. And that is an idea that I actually can get behind. If you wanted to say that Perry and his value to the team isn't really all too significant, but Dylan Holloway, with the potential that he had, would have been more so, then yeah, I mean, letting Perry go to free agency, saving $1.15 million, and then matching the Broberg offer, or not the Broberg, the Holloway offer sheet, or allowing yourself to understand where the rest of the team was going cap-wise, because hey, the team also acquired Vasily Podkolzin. That guy's pretty cheap. He's probably going to play too. He's got no choice. So, when you think about it like that, would you rather have Podkolzin and Holloway, or Podkolzin and Perry? Both cost the same, both are probably going to play the same role on the team, and then you have yourselves Holloway, who has a lot more upward potential into the long term. The article also says here that Perry takes a roster spot away from a young player, which is a little bit understandable there. I mean, the article says here that the fourth line of Edmonton will consist of Podkolzin, Ryan, and Corey Perry. Perry's really, really old, and that's a slow line. Honestly, I do think that Podkolzin is the fastest guy here. The article says that Podkolzin will drive that line. I do think that's probably the most likely outcome when you consider the work ethic and the speed of the other two players. But then the article says there are other guys that will be vying for spots, like Roby Yarventy, like Matthew Savoy, like Raphael Lavoie. Lots of guys that could be put into interesting spots, but whose opportunities might have been taken away by Corey Perry. And the final point that is written out here talks about how Corey Perry's leadership is not needed. It says, the Oilers have leaders in the room. They've got Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Nuge, Nurse, and Hyman. They've also added Henrique and Skinner, who can take on leadership roles. All these players play at an extremely high level and are either in Edmonton's top 6 or their top 4 defense. Perry is a fringe player and will barely crack the fourth line. While he may have experience, can he consistently help the team on the ice? I'm not convinced he can at this stage in his career. So, article will be linked in the description. There's a lot more in here that I didn't go out there and talk about, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below if you disagree or agree with this idea. Will the Edmonton Oilers regret re-signing Corey Perry? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. and bye.